Okay, let's continue our chat about preemption, or the use of preemption, or preemptive response, be it a strike, be it a shove, be it restraint, in a situation that required it was necessary for you to defend yourself. We've talked about necessary. Was it necessary? Did you have to do it? We established what the criteria was for there's no other option. Was it morally correct? From a legal point of view, was it reasonable and necessary? So that's what I want to continue with. I want to talk about preemption in relation to the law. In some countries such as Scandinavia, preemption is forbidden unless you are already assaulted in the physical sense, which is ridiculous because obviously that's too late, but you only have the right to preemption if you're being attacked, which of course is foolhardy. In the UK, it's a very grey area, but if you have the honest belief that you are in danger, imminent danger, and you can't get away, then you have the right to do something before you're injured. So, and as an example, if I see having an argument with somebody and I see him look down at something, so a fire extinguisher or something like that, and then move towards it or make a gesture to move towards it within the context of them approaching me, being aggressive, triggering my instincts, blocking my movement, stopping me from escaping, not willing to listen to anything I'm going to say, and I can see that they're about to do something, whether that's aggressive beginning or whether that's a deceptive beginning, then if I see him weapon glance at something that he's going to pick up and put around my head, I don't have to wait until he puts it around my head. I can act, and I'm going to fucking do so. So if you have really the honest belief that you're in imminent danger of injury, or your life is in imminent danger, or that of somebody that you're with, in regards to a significant other, then you have the right to act before the action is taking place. In terms of being preemptive, your opportunity to be preemptive will present itself, but it won't stay there long. So that's why we talked about the criteria. If the person blocks your avenue of movement, does he constitute a threat? In other words, does he have the opportunity to hurt you? Well, yes, he's right in front of you. Does he have the ability to hurt you, or the means? Well, if he's potentially armed with something, he has the means, or if he's physically able, of course he has the means to hurt somebody else. But most importantly, is he exhibiting behaviour which, in your opinion, would be intent, or defined as intent on your part. So he has intent to hurt you. In which case, then, we've got opportunity, ability, and intent. These are three elements that constitute a threat. There's another element that is looked at quite heavily in the US and also in the UK, and can lead to litigation if you're not careful, and that is preclusion. And that basically means, yes, the person constituted a threat, he had ability, opportunity, and means, and intent, but I put it to you, there was an exit right by you, you could have run through it. But if you could have, you should have. Like we said before, you've got no reason to get preemptive with anyone unless out of an act of sheer desperation. But let's say that you do that, and you are forced to preemptively strike, and you have to know how to articulate what you did in a court of law to a police officer, and in a statement, and to a court of law, to possibly a jury and a judge. And you need to be able to speak in layman terms that people can understand, because the majority of people that are in a jury have probably never had so much as an argument with their wife. Do you know what I mean? They have no understanding of really how violence manifests or anything else. So you need to explain. You need to explain, look, this person came towards me, they triggered an instinct, I felt bad, I needed to leave. I tried to leave, they stopped me. Their behaviour depicted to me, from my understanding of this kind of subject, is that, and from an instinctual point of view of how I felt, that they're going to hurt me. And it was my instinct to do something to stop them so I could immediately get away. Don't get elaborate on what you did, just say, I had the honest belief that they were going to hurt me, and I just lashed out, I just struck. If you strike with an open hand, and if you are forced to continue and control their descent, then there's an element that you can also explain. why did you continue to hit the person after the first strike? Well, he was still on his feet and he still constituted a threat. I grabbed a hold of him and did what was necessary to stop him so he was no longer a problem, and I controlled his descent to the floor. So I had the presence of mind from my training, but my main instinct that was overriding everything is that I was in danger. You have to be able to articulate. We talked about this before on other things, and I've just done a recent audio clip, which I'll also do like this at some point, which relates to post-event communication, or post-event how to represent yourself to a police officer or in a court of law if you study combatives or self-defense. Like I say, it's a grey area. First thing you need to be, is it necessary? Did he constitute a threat, and was there no possibility of escape? If there was no possibility of escape, the conclusion is taken care of. Was what I did reasonable and necessary? They're the two key words. So reasonable would be deemed what was necessary to stop the threat. That's either knock him out, knock him down, or completely dissuade his attitude. He throws up his hands and tells you don't want him. Any one of these things constitutes a threat eliminated. If you now continue to beat him down or kick him on the ground, you are now the aggressor and you've gone beyond your right for self-defense. We teach a continuous attack with a level at 10. In case you meet a 10, you've got to train to go over the edge. But that doesn't mean that's how you fight every fight. So if I can solve this with a shove, I'm not going to strike. If I have to strike and the man's immediately down and no more threat, I'll stop. If not, I will attach and I will continue with 2, 3, 4 or as many shots as it takes to deem him unconscious or make him no longer a threat. I will now control his descent to the floor and leave. If, when I attempt to leave, he grabs a hold of me and then tries to access a weapon that is going to pump into my femoral, then I will finish with my feet. I will crush his ankle, or I'll crush the limb that's holding the weapon. Use my feet as a means to make him no longer ambulatory, and then I'll get gone. Within the context of that situation, it was just a mean motherfucker that just wanted to kill me, and he had the means, the opportunity, definitely more intent than anyone ever needed, then the level of force that I'd use as a 10 on the violence volume dial would be deemed as reasonable and necessary. So you're only going to do what's necessary and reasonable. People won't understand how you felt when you explain why you preempted, so you must explain. There was a massive increase in my heart rate, I had a flood of adrenaline, I started to feel scared, and I had the instinct that I was in danger. Don't go into terms of I had positional dysphyxia and tunnel vision and I had this and I had that. Just put it in layman terms where if somebody has been in a fearful situation they can relate. In which case, if you're a cornered animal, it's an instinct to protect, and that's what you did. You can do all those things and still have a problem in the court afterwards. That's why all consequences of violence are fucking negative. But if you are morally justified, you felt obligated from your own safety point of view, and you were reasonable and necessary within the realms of legality, then you should preempt. You should, and rather than clutter your mind with what's reasonable and necessary and what isn't, you deal with the fucking problem first, worry about that afterwards. But it's a given that, I'm only going to do what's necessary to put this man down. I'm not going to teach him a lesson afterwards. It's not about retribution, it's about self-preservation, mine. And I'll do what's necessary to create that, make that happen. So we'll touch on the law a bit more, but understand the laws in the country where you live in, do your research. And in spite of that fact, when it all goes, shit or bust, and it's your life on the line, regardless of the law, it's in your interest to protect yourself, and your best probability of success for that is to do something before he does something. In which case, we are at least acting in a constructive way. In terms of preemption, really, on a psychological level, if I'm forced to preemptively strike somebody and they've prevented my ability to walk away, they've prevented my ability to talk and try and de-escalate this, and they are forcing me into a box I can't get out of, then I'm not fucking preemptive at all, am I, really? I mean, they fucking started it. They started it on a psychological level by coming up and interviewing me or trying to intimidate me or trying to deceive me in some way as a means to prelude what they're going to do to me in a physical sense. That's an assault. Regardless if it's manifested in a physical sense yet, there's a good chance they've encroached upon my movement, which is aggressive, and they've made me feel emotionally alarmed. I mean, that's an assault on my person. So I wasn't really preemptive. The only fucking way you're ever going to be really truly preemptive is if you go up to some poor bastard you've never met in your life, you just walk up to him and you go bang, fucking hit him in the head, just in case he's ever thinking about giving you a problem. Well, of course, if you did that, you'd find yourself in a lot of trouble. It would be morally incorrect. It's a question for your conscience if you go around and do that kind of thing. That's not what we're about. So, really, if somebody puts you in a position where you can't avoid, you can't escape, you can't de-escalate, and you're forced to preempt, then they started it. You weren't really preemptive. You only acted first in a physical sense. When you do act first, when you do preempt, if it's necessary for you to preemptively strike, because you could flank somebody or shove somebody and preemptively run, that's a preemptive response. No court in the land's going to argue with that. You could flank someone, take their head and control them on the floor, because you would know they're about to kick off within the context of working in a security environment, or if the person you were facing was not a high threat. Or you could preemptively strike. If we're talking preemptively strike, then you are acting out of an act of self-preservation. You do feel that this person could harm you if you don't act. In which case, then, make sure that your main artillery, the first fucking thing you hit them with, is significant. And the two elements that you need to train for that are develop impact, learn the ability to hit fucking hard with either hand from anywhere, either weapon, any weapon from anywhere, and do it like your life depended on it. That's your best start for 10. From there, you just attach and keep going. Now, if whatever happens, you gave it everything you got. Even if you lose, you should survive, and you'll be the best fucking second best he's ever seen. Yeah, your mentality must be you're prepared to do what the fuck is necessary for me to get home. And so, yeah, your objective is prevail, is win. It's not survive, it's prevail. So now, if I do what's necessary, I'll prevail, and I'll get home. If I do what's necessary and everything I can, even if I lose, I should survive, and I've given a good showing, and there's no psychological black dog beating myself up afterwards because I did all I could do. But in most cases, if you practice that principle of blitzkrieg, hit first and continue all the way through them, and you've got some ferocity backed up behind that, most people ain't standing up to that. You'll be through this fucker in 5 seconds. And your best chance of doing that is in a preemptive way before he fucking does it to you.